Okay, folks, so let's take a moment to back away from the Zatima debates, I've been engaging in for the past week or so. And I just want to revisit the 6888 once again. In a video I posted in regards to the film, saying something to the effect of the movie should be about inspiring people to learn more about not just the 6th AAA Battalion, but to see if there were other points in history of African Americans serving roles that they never fully got the appropriate recognition for, and played something of like a group of unsung heroes during important moments in American history. And it should be more about that and less about people, criticizing, Tyler Perry, because if nothing else, he's the one who did a film on this group of women that has people talking about him. And I was looking at the comments and somebody pointed out, yeah, I watched the review for the film on the YouTube channel Double Toasted. And I'm very familiar with these guys who review movies and TV shows. Usually I get a good laugh. More often than not, I agree with their commentary. And I think it's like three or four guys, two black, and I know one I think is white. There used to be two white guys on there as well, but I think that one of them left for whatever reason. But um, I checked out the review. And then another YouTube channel called The Critical Drinker. I used to watch his commentary, but I don't watch it as much anymore because, it's just sometimes when you listen to people complain about everything, there's really nothing. I don't want to just feed my mind with negativity all the time. Sometimes I'm dead on like, yeah, this film is way too woke, or this show is way too focused on checking off diversity boxes as opposed to telling a compelling story. But that video of his was like 6 minutes. But the thing is this, the Critical Drinkers video I felt like was extremely disrespectful. And look, this person has every right to voice their opinion, just like I do doing the commentary on my channel. But when you look at the video itself, which again, I'm not going to post a link. You can go find it if you want to. It's only like 6 minutes long, again, on the channel called The Critical Drinker. It's one of those things where you could tell he didn't watch the film. He just looked at like the trailer and made all sorts of assumptions, basically feeling like this kind of movie was something that was just for the diversity checkbox. Is like, oh, we're going to do a film that's not just about women, but also black women doing a job that no one else could do. Basically, insinuating women are better than men, and that's not the point at all. And the comments, you have those who are sarcastic who agree with him, just spouting out quotes. Is like, yeah, this movie did a good job. It cured my blind grandmother who, opened her eyes to get up from the TV to shut it off when the movie was playing. No, but a lot of people said that, man, I don't know, you missed the mark on this one, because my grandmother, served in the army. Well, she had a role, like, in the medical offices for those war times. Or, my grandfather served in the army way back when. And the thing was, when it came to the mail, you're joking about it because, like, yes, this movie focused on the unsung heroes delivering mail, as opposed to like the different people groups out there, like the Belgians or whoever who were, contributed to the war to help the efforts. There are people that are fighting, no doubt, but there was no cell phones, texting, YouTube, internet, social media. Back then, letters were truly your only means of communication. And I was like taken aback by the number of comments that literally showcased how tone deaf that video was. Like, yeah, my grandparents, or whoever served, and to this day, my grandmother gets bent out of shape when the mail is late, because back then, if the mail was late or something, or something was lost, like, they really freaked out because they had no way of knowing if their loved one was all right, wherever they were posted up in the world. So it's just one of those things where the PTSD kicks in. And when it came to wartime morale, that was real. I mean, yes, there were people battling in those war zones, and nothing could just take a disheartened group of men and just raise their morale to 11 like getting a package from a loved one. That was some real stuff. Heck, if you even watch the Waltons, those later seasons when some of the Walton boys were at war, that was some real stuff. Getting letters and care packages and whatnot, it was a really big deal. So to discredit it, I feel is really wrong, because it isn't just a critical drinking. There are a bunch of other, critics out there who had something to say about the film. Why it has to focus on black women? There were other people doing it. This movie focused on the fact that this group of black women, this battalion, did the job that either no one else could do or wanted to do. They talked about how they had, we had white men try, we had white women try, and they couldn't do it. So it's like, oh, we'll just pass this program on to these black women. We know they can't do it. And on top of that, this reminds me of, how, and I hate to sound like I'm whining, but this is true. Black folks, we truly can't have anything. I mean, how many war films are there right now that focus on, soldiers and whatnot on the field of battle? Plenty of them, and it makes sense why. But battles were taking place not just on the battlefields of whatever war was going on at that time, but there were wars happening back at home, surging cost of, groceries and other materials, workplace situations where the women had to step up and take jobs of men because men were overseas fighting. And when it came to the male, of course, the morale, I talked about it earlier. But for example, Black Panther, I think that's one of the biggest films that had a mainly black cast in it. Whenever black people, which is few and far between in terms of whenever we have a massive project that blows up, there's always the complaint of, well, how come this group wasn't represented? Like, how come there was only like one or two white people in Black Panther? How come the LGBT, hey, the Dora Milaje, the group of Wakandan female warriors, why wasn't there any LGBTQ representation between, why can't we just have a black film? A film that predominantly focuses on black people, and it does well. There are plenty of other films out there that, cater to certain people groups based on sexuality, gender, or race. But for black people, we don't have that much. And when we finally get a little taste of something, a little bit of success, a little bit of notoriety, we have to be burdened with the responsibility of representing a bunch of other races who, whenever they have something blow up, they don't give a damn about representing black people. That's what just gets on my nerves about people who have something to say about this film. And when it comes to Double Toasted, I think what really sucks about the commentary here is I feel like, and they've reviewed a huge number of Tyler Perry movies. Their commentary really seemed to stem from the bad Tyler Perry films that they've reviewed. So when it came to, and this isn't just a Double Toasted problem, this happens with a lot of reviews and critiques I've seen online. They seem to focus on the negative stereotypes of Tyler Perry shows and movies, and then try to pick apart the 6888 for falling into the same, ditch, if you will, of just bad stereotypes and tropes such as like the Johnny May character and whatnot. But I feel like, and I'm not going to lie, because I review the stuff on this channel, not every Tyler Perry project, a majority of his projects don't carry the best reputation in terms of quality, screenwriting, acting, and rather than wardrobe, let's just be real, the hair pieces. But the 6888 is one of those rare times, similar to A Jazzman's Blues, where Tyler, you could tell he truly took his time. This was a passion project. So you really need to go into this film with a mindset of, okay, let me take everything negative from every other Tyler Perry project in the past several years and just look at this movie at face value. He took his time. He went to the legit locations of the historical events. He didn't just film everything at Tyler Perry Studios. He went overseas with the crew and the actors and whatnot. He did research. He did interviews with the surviving members of the battalion. And I had to, correct myself because one of the reasons I gave the movie an 8 out of 10 was I said that the Lena and Abrams romance, I don't feel like was explained enough to realistically, make me feel like Lena would enlist because of her kind of sort of almost boyfriend's death. But somebody pointed out, well, no, Jeremy, in an interview, Tyler said that this is how it happened. And I think in the movie, it was mentioned that these two had known each other since they were kids. I don't know how that got by me, but it did. So if I was indeed incorrect, then, I want to rectify that in this video. And also, when it comes to like Tyler doing interviews, whenever there's a movie, there are countless interviews, not just with Tyler Perry, but for the various cast members who appear on a number of daytime and nighttime talk shows, podcast, YouTube channels. So I cannot watch everything. So yeah, there are some things I will miss. But yeah, I just really feel like this movie does not deserve the criticism that it has been receiving. It's one of those things where Tyler Perry did his research. He highlighted a group of people who, until just recently, were recognized for their hard work. I believe, Michelle Obama, did a presentation where they received some awards, and I think there's like a statue or a monument in DC, for their battalion and whatnot. So yeah, it's like the years leading up to the film, things were finally changing. This battalion was getting the recognition they deserve. And just because you highlight a specific group of people does not mean you are discrediting another. So just because there is a film on Netflix focusing on these black women, that does not diminish the accomplishments and the contributions of, different nationalities or different genders of people who had something to do during this specific wartime. People just need to stop it. Black people, no matter how much you try to scrub our history from the books or act like, oh, well, all they did was deliver mail, we were still a part of that. So just, man, I don't know. That's all I had to say. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Kudos to Tyler Perry. My whole channel is about reviewing his content. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But when he does good, I highlight it. And when it comes to this particular film, that's what I'm talking about. Now, if he did, all of his projects with the same level of care, then man, oh man, the overall reception of his work would be in a different light today. But with the 6888, he did what he needed to do to make this a quality film. So with that being said, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.